Hey there, everybody, it's Wayne D. Welcome to the website, WayneD.com. We're looking at a first-time student, Scott Kramer. Let's take a look at the opening swing. Like a lot of players that you see on the website, Scott is a pretty good player. He's got good motion. Let's look at it from the back. All right, one more of those, and then we'll slow it down, draw a couple lines, and we'll see what I pick out to try to take care of. We had an hour and a half, so we're gonna do the standard Wayne D lines that define the initial positions at setup, see where everything moves during the swing. So right away, when I'm looking, I was watching the first batch of swings and the setup, it occurred to me that it just appeared that you were pretty far back into the heels at address with a lot of bend. And if you see a space like this between the heels and the butt, my expectation now would be that you would move forward and lift in the backswing. Let's take a look. So there's you can see the lift, little right load, which is good. The hips are stable. So another good thing. You can see the arms getting a little bit bent up, the left arm. That indicates the right arm's probably pulling behind a little bit. But the big thing that I noticed right away from that setup is that everything is going to gravitate forward toward the ball. So let's watch. So there's a trigger motion that we probably want to get rid of, that knees flexing toward the ball. Anything that happens that does too extreme like that, especially from this setup, is going to push the arms and hands out away from the body. So you can see that everything is going to be way up in front. So we got a huge progression here from the shaft plane, which is pretty normal at 55. We go all the way up to 70. So we know that average backswing progression is probably 55 to 63 over here, like right there. So look how much deeper that would be. So that's one of the things we're going to work toward. And you can also see, of course, balance is heading back toward the balls of the feet. So instead of starting on the balls of the feet and moving into the heels, it's starting on the heels and moving forward. So the left arm gets lifted up fairly vertically. And now there's really no room for the right arm to get in front, so it's got a choice. It's either going to drop down behind everything and get stuck, or it's going to come in, try to get in front of the body and come in real high. So we can see everything is steep and way out in front. So one of the things I kind of point out to people is what we really don't want is a huge discrepancy between where the hands are when they start and where they are at P6 when the shaft's parallel to the ground. So Scott was really hitting pulls with some draw, so that would start a little left and go more left. And as we can see in the forward swing, we're going to get a tremendous amount of hip slide and a very early release. So all this is giving the face ample time to close down. And now we get to the ball, and we're going to have some miss hits, not a lot of forward lean, so we're going to get some scrapey shots, some thin and fat. So we'd like to get the hands in front, but I'm thinking as I watch that that's going to be maybe too much to ask. We'll work on that if we have time at the end, but we definitely want to deal with the setup. So we'll start. We talked about the grip a little bit. Your right hand grip was a little on the grip itself was positioned okay, but the tension that you had in it was down in the thumb and index finger down here, and I wanted you to take the pressure out of those two fingers, and so that we could feel the lag of the club eventually. So anyway, here's our revamped setup. So you can see a much smaller space between the butt and the heels. You can see that. So it's very obvious that now the balance point's up toward the front of the feet, less bent over, and a little less knee flex. So now if we draw the lines on this one, we're going to see some improvement. Now the other thing that we talked about was the path of the club, and we wanted to combine these two things. We wanted to see if we could get the arms more inward, and then in the downswing, of course, we don't want the shaft way out in front where it's going to cut across. So let's take a look, see what we got. So you can see in the takeaway the club breaks a little under, but as far as how far away the hands got from the body, you can see that's way different. So our progression here is going to be not as big, so we're going to go from 54 to 64. So we went from 16 to 10. Club's a little flat, and just like it kind of was before, maybe a little more. But look where the right butt cheek went here. What a huge difference that is. Really all because of the setup. So as we get to the top, that's not going to be nearly as lifted. So we got a chance now maybe to come down and keep the shaft a little bit shallower. So let's take a look at where the shaft is on the way down. So that's a big difference. So the club head is going to be less inclined to go outside of these lines. So begin to hit the ball, start it off to the right or straighter. And when we look at the amount that we early extended or came out from under, and that's been cut probably more than half right there. Now another thing you can see as a result is you don't see as much lifting, and then in the downswing we're going to come into this thing with more posture. So that was nice to have the swing respond to the setup like that, and then when we discussed where what we wanted to feel with the club trailing, big difference. Now if we look at it from face on, we're not going to see quite as much difference. Now we can't see the posture from here, so what we're looking for is to see if we can get the hands a little further forward before we hit the ball. So compared to the first swing, we made some nice progress there too. That's really not that easy to do right away. We are going to do some impact stuff later, but you can see he snuck the club a little more forward. So a little better contact. Now we still have a large amount of slide, so the next thing I did in order to get the lower body to feel like it could stay deeper and the hips to feel like they would actually aim or cut over to the left more rather than slide forward, I put them on the spine board. So we got the board behind the butt. So see how we do here. Still a little bit of that trigger in the knees. Can't do everything all at once, but you can see how the tush line is staying back. That's good. Still a tiny bit off, but again, much better. If we watch the shaft, it gets even a little bit more shallow there. Now if we look at it from the front, we've got this guy sticking out here, so we're looking to cut that lateral movement down, and you can see as he runs into this, that's going to give him that feel. I didn't film any of the drills that we did, but one of the things that we did was we did a preset punch shot where I had him set up with the wrists, with the hands in front of the ball and the club up at 90, and we're just hitting some punch shots. So that's something that would take a little time, but I thought overall right off the bat, getting the setup change and understanding where we wanted the path of the club to come from, it just made a big difference. All right.